Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss Geography chapter 1 of class 8th and the title of the chapter is Resources. Dear students, first of all let me tell you what is a resource. Resource is anything which you can utilize to fulfill your needs. So in your chapter things have been explained with examples and in a very nice manner. So let's start with the story of Mona and Raju who are helping their mother to clean the room, and they have found so many things lying around them. For example, comb, honey bottle, books, clothes, utensils, food grains, etc. Then Amma tells them that all these things are called resources. Raju asks question, Amma, what do you mean by resources? Then Amma tells that whatever things we see around us which are useful to us are called resources. For example, water, electricity, rickshaw, textbooks, etc. Even pen or your notebook, everything which you are using which is helpful for fulfilling your needs, that can be called a resource. Now the question arises, thousands of things are lying around us. Every day we see so many things. Is everything a resource? No. Everything is not a resource. There are certain things, there are certain features which make any substance, which make anything a resource. So the first thing which converts a substance into resource is utility. Utility means its usefulness. If it is useful, then it is a resource. For example, if you see sand lying around you, and if it is not useful, then you cannot call it a resource. But if you are using the same sand and it is fulfilling your needs, then it can be a resource. The second thing which can make anything a substance, that is its value. Value means worth. If anything which is lying around you, it has some value, so it means that is a resource. For example, metals. If you want metals for any purpose, you have to buy these things and you have to pay for it. It means it is a resource. So these two things, utility and value, make a substance a resource. A natural landscape is also a resource as it satisfies the need of human mind. It entertains us. But if you see natural landscape, then you can say that it has no value. But sometimes if it is fulfilling our need, so this can be classified as a resource. Some resources can become economically valuable. For example, home remedies, which today your mother is telling. Home remedies means anything, any dadi maa ke nuskhe, some of the things which we are utilizing to cure our problems and to find solution to our problems. So these things, maybe today these are not valuable, but if in future you get them patented, you get them registered on your name, and then these are sold by medical firms and they are earning money, so you will also get some profit out of that. So here you should think around things lying around you, and then you should tell 5 resources which you see at home and 5 resources which you see at school. If you will do it, it will make your concept more clear about resources. Further, here I want to tell you, dear students, time and technology are two things that are very important factors to change a substance into resource. Means maybe today something which is not valuable, it can be valuable in future. So this way time has played an important role to convert this substance into a resource. Sometimes, like we have so much of uranium lying and if we are not able to use because we don't have technology, so it means now uranium is not a resource, but in future by applying technology we can use it and it can be converted into a resource. Here further in your book it is told that people themselves are resources. How human beings can be resources? Yes, they can be resources because they have ideas, they have knowledge, they can invent new things, and they can create more resources by applying their skills. So this way human beings are very important resources. And if a person discovers one thing in future, that may lead to many more inventions. For example, once fire was discovered, after this discovery so many other things were discovered which use fire for different purposes. For example, cooking needs fire. So of course once the early man discovered fire, after that they started cooking food, so they discovered art of cooking as well. Further, humans invented trains as well, which are run by steam. To generate steam you need fire. So with the development or with the discovery of fire, we are able to discover so many other things as well. Let us talk about discovery of wheel. Once wheel was discovered, after that so many other things also were discovered. For example, many means of transportation, carts and vehicles, and then art of pottery as well. Pottery is art of making pots. So that also was discovered after discovery of wheel. So this way we can see that once we discover one thing, then it may lead to more and more discoveries in future. The technology to create hydroelectricity turned water into an important resource. Here you cannot say that earlier water was not an important resource. Earlier also water was important resource. We could irrigate our fields, we could take bath, we could use in home for different purposes. Here they want to say that now we can use water for generating electricity, and that itself was like a revolution in our day-to-day lives. So how many types of resources can be there? In your book they have described so many types of resources on the basis of their origin or on the basis of their development or different things. So first of all, here I want to discuss about two types. One type is natural resources. These are the resources which we directly use from nature. For example, air, river water, minerals, etc. We just pick from the nature and we are utilizing it, so it is a natural resource. Further, in its opposition, then there are man-made resources also, human-made resources. In your book this is described in the end somewhere. Human-made resources are also there. These are the resources which are made by humans, such as roads, trains, etc. Okay, so one natural resources, another human made resources also are there. These natural resources further can be classified into different categories on the basis of their origin, how they have originated. On that basis also they can be divided into different categories. How much stock is available at which place, on the basis of that as well, and what kind of distribution they have, like in which area, in which quantity it is there. So on that basis also these can be divided. The stock and distribution is one and same thing almost, that what is the quantity in a particular area. On that basis also the resources can be divided further into many categories or groups. On the basis of their development and use, resources can be categorized as actual resources and potential resources. So this division is on the basis of their development and use. So what are actual resources? Actual resources are those resources whose quality and quantity is known, that how much quantity they are available in. Okay, QUA and quantity, their quantity is known and these are being used in present. So this type of resources are known as actual resources. Examples are given in your book. Ruhr region in Germany, it has coal deposits which are being used presently and we know even about their quantity. So it means these are actual resources. Another example of actual resources is petroleum in West Asia. And third example given in your book is the dark soils of Deccan in Maharashtra. These are examples of actual resources. Now let's talk about potential resources. Potential resources are those resources whose entire quantity may not be known. Some quantity may be known but not all the quantity, and these are not being used at present. So if any resource has these two features, that type of resource we will call potential resource, and these can be utilized in future by applying any technology. So this way potential resources have three features. Their quantity is not known, they are not being used at present, and they can be utilized in future by applying any technology or skills. Example is uranium, which is found in Ladakh. So if we will be able to develop technology to utilize it, then it will become actual resource. Means potential resources can become actual resources in future, and actual resources which we are using now may exhaust or may end in future. High speed winds, earlier when there was no technology to utilize these high speed winds, then these high speed winds were potential resources. But when we came to know about windmills, we discovered windmills. After that, these fast blowing winds became actual resources. You can find windmills in Netherlands, Nagercoil in Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat coast. So there you can find these windmills which have converted fast blowing winds into actual resources. Okay, let us talk on the basis of origin how many types of resources you can find. On the basis of origin, resources are of two types. One is abiotic, another is biotic. Abiotic is non-living, means it has been derived from non-living, and its example is soil, rocks, minerals, etc. So these all things are non-living, and so because they have originated from non-living things, so these are known as abiotic resources. Second type is biotic resource. Biotic has been taken from living, means all the resources which have originated from living things such as plants and animals are known as biotic resources. Natural resources broadly can be divided into two categories. This is a broad division, just like that. First type of resource is renewable resource. Renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed quickly or which can be replaced in future, and some of these are unlimited and these are not affected by human activities, but if we keep using them unjudiciously, so in future they may get exhausted. For example, wind and solar energy. Wind and solar energy are available in abundance and there are no chances of their getting exhausted in future. But certain kind of resources are there. For example, water, soil, forest. If we keep using them without any careful look, then we can face some problems in future and their stock can be affected in future. Water seems renewable, but we can face shortage of water if we do not preserve, if we do not conserve water for future generations. Let us talk about non-renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those resources which have limited stock and these can end up in future, maybe in thousands of years. And why these are called non-renewable resources? It's not like that these cannot be renewed. These can be renewed, but with a very slow speed. For example, if you want to replenish them, once all the coal fields are utilized, then it will take thousands of years again to get coal accumulated at the same place. And human life is very short, so you cannot live 1,000 years to see it that now it is getting replenished. So this is the reason that these are known as non-renewable resources, because renewing them takes a lot of time. Its example is coal, petroleum and natural gas. These are non-renewable resources. On the basis of distribution, we can classify resources as ubiquitous resources. Ubiquitous resources are those resources which are present everywhere. For example, water, air and even sunlight. Sunlight is also present, so it can also be ubiquitous resource. And another type of resource on the basis of distribution is localized resources. Localized resources are those resources which are found only in certain places, like copper and iron ore. You can find copper mines in Khetri, Rajasthan. Can you find them in Hisar? No, you cannot find. So this way, these are such resources are available in certain areas only. So that's why these are known as localized resources. Distribution of resources can be affected by the following things. One is terrain and climate and altitude. Terrain means what kind of topography is there. Like there are plains, or there is desert, or there is a mountainous region. Okay, so these things make these things affect the distribution of resources. Another is climate. Whatever type of climate is there, that also helps in the formation of resources, so it will affect their distribution. Altitude means height from the sea level, so this height also affects the distribution and formation of the resources. Let's talk about human made resources. Earlier in the beginning I had told you that there are one more types of resources, which are known as human made resources. So these human made resources are those resources, as it is very clear from this title, which are made by human beings. Sometimes substances become resources only when their original form has been changed completely. So such kind of resources are known as human made resource, because they have been changed by human beings, they have been created by human beings. Iron ore was not a resource until we learned to extract it from iron ore or from the mines. So when we got the technology, then we started using it, and then we extract iron from it, and so it became very important resource. People use natural resources to make buildings, bridges, roads, machinery and vehicles, etc. So all these things can be classified as human made resources, because these are made by humans. So people use natural resources to make human made resources. Is that understood? Let's talk about humans as resources. Human beings are very important resources. Earlier I had discussed about it. Human beings are a special resource because they have knowledge, they have skill. Education and health help in making people a valuable resource. Like if a child is born and he is not given any kind of education, his health is not taken care of, and when he grows up he is illiterate and he is completely uneducated and unhealthy, so he will not be able to utilize his brain for the maximum use of the resources or to contribute for the growth of the resources. So this way education and health are two important factors which help humans to become very valuable resource. Then what is human resource development? Dear students, human resource development means improving the quality of people's skills, maybe by giving them training, by enhancing their skills so that they are able to create more and more resources. So when we are giving humans some kind of training to improve their skills, this process is known as human resource development, because now we are developing humans as resources. What do you mean by conserving the resources? Conserving means preserving something for future use. Mona had seen a nightmare. Nightmare means very bad kind of dream. In that dream, she saw that all the water has dried up, all the trees have been cut, and people are roaming here and there. There is no food to eat, there is no shade of the trees to sit under. So she gets up in the morning and she asked her Amma, can it really happen what I have seen in dream? So Amma says, yes, surely it can happen if we keep using natural resources as in a very unjudicious manner and in a very careless way. So if we are very careless in their use, then non-renewable resources surely can get exhausted, and then we will not find anything to use in future. So using carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. So any resources which are available, which we are using, if we are using them in a very careful manner and we are giving them time to replenish, it means we are now doing resource conservation. For example, if you, due to some reason, you have to cut 10 trees for one project, then in turn if you grow 20 trees, then it means you are now giving time and you are helping these resources again to take place there, and so that these can be utilized in future. There further in your book it was discussed about sustainable development. Sustainable development, everybody knows, when we are doing any kind of projects for the development. For example, we are making a hotel in the forest, so this is a developmental project. So how, for that you have to cut so many trees, then how is this development a sustainable development? Here sustainable development means when you are balancing your needs and you are conserving these resources for future use as well. As I had given you the example that if you have to cut trees for any project, then if you are growing double than those trees, then it means you are helping in conserving these resources and your development can be called a sustainable development. But if you are cutting all the trees every day and then you think we are making so high buildings and these will be utilized in future and so we are developing, no, that cannot be called a sustainable development. So there are three ways to conserve the resources. These are known as even 3 R's. 3 R's. So these 3 R's. First R is reducing consumption. Means you can reduce your needs, demands, or use in a very careful manner, or you can reduce the consumption. So this is your first R. Second R is recycling. You can recycle the things like paper. You have newspapers, so these once paper is used to make this newspaper, then this newspaper should not be wasted. It can be utilized for making bags, etc. So that also will be known as recycling. Another is reusing. You are reusing some of the resources. You can do it. Example of reuse is, for example, you are now in 8th standard. You are using your books. Afterwards you go to next year, you will be 9th standard. Your younger brother or sister can reuse your books. So this way you will help in conservation of resources, because books are made up of paper is made by cutting the trees. So this way you will be able to protect the nature if you are reusing your books. Then further one activity which is described in your book, that the children that evening they made the packets, or they made shopping bags out of newspaper. So that was so this activity we can categorize as recycle. So they were doing recycling of these resources. Same evening, Jesse resolved that I will never waste paper. Mustafa decided that I will never waste electricity. Asha decided that I will never waste water. And then they all together said we can make difference. If all together we do little bit things, that can make a big difference. For example, while brushing your teeth in the morning, if each and everyone can save one glass of water, so together you will be able to save hundreds of glasses of water. So this way we should always keep our efforts up to conserve the resources. The future of earth is linked with our ability to maintain and preserve these natural resources. So this is our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resource are sustainable. The diversity of life on the earth is conserved, means you are not harming the climate and you are not harming the ecosystem. The damage to natural environment system is minimized, and if you somehow you cannot survive without harming the environment, at least you should try to damage it in the least manner. So this was your chapter, dear students. Here I want to tell you about the activity you can play after watching this video. For that, the procedure is that as you are watching this video on YouTube, then you will find this kind of page before you. This is your video being played, and below this in the right corner there is this tick. You will click here. If you will click here, then this kind of page will open before you below the video, under the video. So these are the links of activities, and somewhere you will find the link of Hindi translation of the chapter also. If you click on this link of activity, then this will open before you. When it opens, then you have to click on play. When you will click on play, then once more they will ask you to click on play like this. They will ask you click here on play once more. Then afterwards your activity will start, and then you have to tick your correct option. As you will tick, your marks will be filled in this, and they will tell your performance at the end. So that's all. Thank you. May God bless you. If you have any doubt, you can type in chat box, or if you want recording of any different topic, that also you can write in the comment box. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon to get the notifications about my latest videos.